London is one of skies in the world most affected by light pollution. We, however, continue to insist on turning off artificial lights of cities, to contemplate sky night that everybody are entitled to observe. With this virtual effect we can see, from the same Trafalgar Square in the city, mass celestial objects across the sky of Northern Hemisphere. Earth rotation is one of the many movements of our planet, so we see the stars move from east to west, but one star that remains virtually motionless all the time in the Northern Hemisphere is Polaris, in the Ursa Minor constellation. Because the polar agree with the projection of the Earth's axis, so everybody turn respect to that bright point, and you believe that all the stars revolve in a circle around it. There are stars that never hidden by the horizon. Constellations formed by these stars are called circumpolar. The northern circumpolar constellations are Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Camelopardalis, Cassiopeia, Cepheus and Dragon. One night, you can easily appreciate the quick rotation of the Earth, contemplating the fleeting stillness of the stars in the sky. The fourth brightest star of this month's sky, it is placed over our heads. Arcturus, the guardian of the Great Bear, lies in the Boots constellation. It is an orange giant, located 37 light-years from us, traveling with a group of 50 stars with very quick proper motion. A new theory suggests that this group of stars called Arcturus stream may have belonged to a dwarf galaxy that merged with the Milky Way over 5 billion years ago. About the south horizon, the Asterism of Boots constellation is shaped like a giant kite, easy to identify in the sky. We draw an imaginary triangle, whose vertex are located Arcturus, Rho Boots and cluster NGC 5466. The globular cluster NGC 5466 contains a very low stellar density for this type of astronomical objects. Recently, astronomers discovered that there is a stream of past stars belonging to this cluster and extending in its orbit around our galaxy, attracted by the enormous tidal gravitational force exerted by the Milky Way. Extending 2.5 times the distance between the stars Alioth and Mizar, in Ursa Major, come to the spiral galaxy NGC 5676. We need telescopes above 200 mm to observe the peculiar asymmetry existing between the galactic arms openings, being much dense those located south of the galaxy. The image that we see now was originated more than 100 million years ago, a time when the world was a different place, dominated by dinosaurs. Pay off stopping to watch some of the double stars found in these domains. Epsilon Bootis, also called Izar or Pulcherima, the most beautiful, is a double system with a beautiful color contrast between the blue of the secondary star and the orange of the principal. You will need an aperture telescope with more than 100 mm to unfold. Delta Bootis, is a double system where components are far apart. This fact creates a false contrast between the existing color yellow of primary star and blue of secondary. This later is actually a star that emits white, yellow light, similar to our Sun. On the northern horizon, we find the Draco constellation, the dragon, whose tail winds between the two bears. Halfway between the Theta and Iota Draconis stars lies the famous Dracula S Triplet, formed by NGC 5981, NGC 5985 and NGC 5982 galaxies. Two elliptical and one bright spiral can be seen together throughout our telescope eyepiece. Our eyes will never be able to see them as shown in this stunning image. Not far away lies the Splinter Galaxy, NGC 5907, spiral galaxy located 40 million light-years away. From our perspective, we can only see edgewise. In 2008 it was possible to shoot a stream of stars that was torn from an old dwarf galaxy, due to gravitational tidal forces produced by the spiral. Astronomers from a planet in that galaxy would observe our galaxy similarly. By moving the telescope slightly, we will encounter the lenticular galaxy NGC 5866. Which, like the previous, is visible sideways, but it's more brighter and perfectly defined in a black sky. Finally, observe the known planetary nebula, NGC 6543, also called Cat's Eye, allows brightness in very dark skies, visible with binoculars as a fuzzy dot. However, adding increases to our telescope, we can appreciate the strange nebular formation corresponding to the outer layers of a dying star. These must have been sculpted by the magnetic field of a companion star that has not yet been detected. About 15,000 years ago, the creating process of this planetary nebula started with the expulsion of the central star gaseous layers. However, it was only 1,000 years ago when it actually formed the eye to a surprising change in its structure, which could be due to the gravitational interaction of the companion star, which channels the gas emitted in a jet that is dispersed similar to the garden sprinklers. We can see that gas of nebula expanding with great speed in this Hubble Space Telescope animation. Two images with a time interval of only 8 years have allowed to calculate angular velocity of the gaseous layers needed to know the distance to the Cat's Eye Nebula, 3,000 light-years. Contemplate the stillness of the sky over your head and discover the motion of the earth under your feet.